For those that don't know, this is the Jeskidding show, where sometimes I say things and I say, "Oh, I was just kidding. I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry if I offended you and the entire human race." And then sometimes I say things that make you think, where it goes, "Oh, I was just kidding," and a light goes off, and hopefully you took something from it. We're here today with Erica Langworthy, digital artist extraordinaire, worked at Rockstar Games and WWE and does all the graphics for my channel. Somehow she's nice enough to do that. Say hello, Erica.
Hi, everybody.
So that's Erica. And the subject of the day is I'm having more fun than you. I'm having more fun than you. My social media is better than you. I'm everywhere. I'm doing the coolest things. Don't you wish you could be doing what I'm doing with the people that I'm doing it with? So that's our subject today, and to discuss what is that? What does it mean to project this image of fun to everybody else on both sides of the coin as the projector and the projectee? Have you ever been a projectee, Erica?
Have I ever been a projectee? I don't know. Usually when I post stuff on social media, I don't want to make people feel crappy, and maybe that speaks more to my personality, but it seems like this whole "I'm having more fun than you" or fear of missing out is, I think, what they also call it. It's become this really it's morphed into this weird form of like grassroots marketing. I even hate saying grassroots marketing, but it's
That's
like
right.
it's almost like the idea of tricking you into thinking this in some cases that this person is endorsing something on their own, and because it's a person and not a company, people will buy more of it.
Well,
Not
well,
like
well, I think
sorry, go ahead.
you're speaking about something very specific, right? You're saying
Yeah.
you're talking about, and we'll get to that. And I think that's a really, really important subject, which is like you're talking about people who are more popular that have capitalized and monetized their reach of "I'm having more fun than you,"
Yeah.
right? And are doing it in a sort of disingenuous way to make even more money and selling you things in a non-transparent way. Is that what we're talking about for a second? That's what you're referring to, right?
Yeah. So
Oh,
let me back way up. I'll back way up and say,
please back it up. Back it up.
yeah, back that horse up, or back that ass up. Would be,
Very,
oh.
yes,
Anyways.
please do. Please do.
So have I ever been a projectee? I couldn't really do it when I was in my 20s, right? And I say 20s because and this is for me, not saying this about, I'm not projecting on anybody else, but I was a lot more insecure in my 20s. I wanted people to be like, "Hey, look at me. I'm like wearing a tight fitting outfit or something questionable. Look at me. Don't you want to look at me? Yay, yay, look at me." Um, and looking at like, there's some people on my social media feed I just had to stop following them because it was big pictures of butts, male or female butts, and
Butts. Yep.
their literal
Boobs.
assets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boobs. Butts and boobs.
Uh,
Yep. I get it.
so yeah, so like kind of like vapid stuff, but I follow mainly artists and actually mainly follow artists, whether martial or visual artists.
But wouldn't you say that the people that you follow, right? Because I think
Mm.
we're all guilty of this, right? The projection of fun, right? That we because this is not social media has not really turned into a universe where you're projecting something real about yourself at all times. It's not. I think that more so, even the people that you follow aren't more of their posts about them enjoying themselves doing something.
Yes and no. Like for me, the difference between people posting, like I have friends that post when they cook something with their wife, like, "Oh, look at this delicious thing I made with my wife. I can't wait to eat it." I'm like, "Oh, dude, that looks really good." And like I'll share, like, one of my favorite things to do is cooking steak via a method called sous vide.
Hmm.
And I post it, one, because I'm proud of myself because I did something new,
Hmm.
but two, I want other people to know that there's other ways to like cook a steak. Like you cook it in this weird hot water bath in a plastic bag, and then you get a cast iron skillet and you sear it, and it's delicious, and you should really try it. Not because I'm eating it and you're not, but it's so delicious. I want you to also try it because it's delicious.
So you're coming from a place of you want to share. You want to
Yeah.
share the experience, right? You want to say, I had this thing, I liked it, and I feel like if you look at what I had, it will inspire you to maybe enjoy it yourself. Is that where you're coming from on those?
Yeah, like I want to be inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only kind of projecting stuff I don't even want to say projecting. Like I think consider it more sharing. Like even when I share my work, of course, there's a part of me that wants likes. I'm not gonna fucking lie, especially when I put up my work because I'm putting my work out there and I want people to like it, like not the literal clicking of the liking it, but to actually enjoy this thing that I work hard on.
Mm.
Um,
So you want
but that,
validation.
yeah, and that's a small part, and I know it's very, in a way, it's poisonous to be like, hey, strangers, pay attention to me and this thing I did. Like, it's definitely a double-edged sword.
So for me, forgive me for interrupting.
Yeah, no,
I
no,
do
you're
that
good.
by accident a lot. So I feel I want to sort of back this subject up a little bit and say,
Sure.
I feel like everybody who's doing it. I'm going to talk about how I sort of use this too. I feel like it's a mixture of emotions that go out there when I post something. It's multiple things, and I think that all of us are guilty of this. Everybody from me to my mother who posts a lot to people who are making careers out of this. I feel like there's the fun that I'm having while I'm having the fun, but then there's the projection of the fun, or in some cases, the illusion of the fun that I'm having. In other words, like there are some places that I'm really not having a good time, but I'll take a picture that I think is cool because I feel like somehow, and this is just being brutally honest, somehow sharing this will make people like me more. It'll validate me in some way. B, I just like making people happy and making them smile. So that's me, right? But other people don't have that. C, I think that part of it is to stay visible so that people don't forget me. I think part of it is professional. So if I'm at some professional event, and this is the biggest guilt of most people, is like professionally they feel like, and personally, they're not visible, then opportunities won't come to them, that they'll be forgotten, that they won't be seen as somebody who's moving and shaking. So I think there's a lot of this creation of excitement from events that even I go to and things that I do, like look at this ice cream. So if it was just ice cream, just take a picture of the ice cream. But I feel like I frame the ice cream in a particular way so it looks bigger than life. I make my eyes big because I want to capture an emotion. Part of it is storytelling, but also it's just about me sort of putting this into a package. And I think that's what Instagram and those kinds of things do, is they make the package polished so that I can create this bigger sense of fun or adventure than it actually is. And I think we all do it, whether we know it or not, so that we can share, but also we can convince other people that our lives have more value. And that sounds kind of sad coming out of my mouth, but that's kind of how sometimes I feel about it. And then sometimes I do it for just pure sharing reasons. Do you find that conflict when you share something for yourself?
Oh yeah. And you touched on something very interesting about the professional side of things. Like, you want people to know, hey, look, she's doing things, she's here, she's there. It's in a weird way become almost, I mean, because resumes have facts on them, but it's almost become like a visual resume, or like
Right.
a thing to get people's attention.
Right.
So it's like, I went to a party, hung out with this person. Oh, like, I have an acquaintance or a friend who's a professional fighter, and he's definitely somebody I admire and I look up to, but
Mhm.
it's such a cool moment, and part of me wants people to see that I took a picture with this professional fighter.
Right. Right.
But I always, in the back of my mind, it's not like I don't want to use the person I'm standing next to, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Does completely. There's a part of you that's pure, right? There's a part of you that wants to hang on to the I want to do this thing that tells other people that I'm doing a really cool thing and says that I have value, but at the same time, part of you is sort of monitoring that and be like, yo, I don't want to be disingenuous to the situation, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that moment where you feel like that sort of conflict, right? Do you feel like it's a real measured thing going on in your brain before you post that thing on Instagram or Facebook or whatever?
Yeah, I primarily use Instagram.
I don't much at all. I'm terrible at it. And I feel
Yeah.
I feel bad about it. I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice by not promoting the brand of my fucking life. My fucking life is a brand. How crazy is that? Like, doesn't
Yeah.
that sound so weird? Like, by the way, just off topic real quick. For those just listening or watching this thing, we broadcast this live on Twitch, and sometimes I will call out people's comments from Twitch. So you'll understand that I'm mentioning weirdo number 472, who in this case is Andy7629. I love you, Andy. You're the best. He'll mention things like, he said, my tweets, Facebook statuses from 10 years ago included so many, this is what I'm doing, nothing special. Now it's just, I cooked this, did this awesome thing, etc. He posts way less. So it's very interesting because what Andy's saying here is Andy's like, that's funny. Andy's saying that 10 years ago, he was just basically being informative. But now Andy is turning himself into the brand of his own life. And I'm not trying to force it on you, Andy, but I'm forcing it on you, really. Because I think we're all doing this, right? I think we're all sort of saying, hey, look, Lord, look how great my life is. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the actual feeling of doing something and the feeling of that's projected of something. And that's very cerebral. I'm being really fucking smart today. Forgive me. But meaning that, like, are they different or have they become so intertwined? Is going to the rock concert and feeling the experience there captured accurately by the picture that you put on Instagram about it? I'll let you feel this one. Erica, please.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, I'll touch on what I talked about earlier was the whole, like, quote-unquote marketing thing. So, social media can be used as, like, a tool to keep in touch with family. So, like, your mom doesn't think you're dead. She's like, why hasn't she posted anything?
That's good reason.
She must be dead.
Yeah, you must be, obviously.
But, like, for myself, like, I posted a picture of me after a workout, like, a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very careful to take the picture of myself so I don't look chubby. Like, I'm in pretty good shape, but I've got some a little bit of love handle action going on. I have cellulite on my butt and the back of my leg. So no way in hell where I show a picture of cellulite on my body, because it's ew in our society.
It's a no for no reason, because everybody gets something. It's fucking stupid. But so you're saying you mask certain things about yourself that you don't like.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna, but I also try to post that, I'm working out. Like, what I wrote beneath it was, there's days I don't want to work out, I hate it, but I feel better when I do it. That's the encapsulated version. But the thing I found about social media, and this part of me wishes I would have had these experiences when I was younger to look back in retrospect, because now when I go somewhere, like when I take a trip somewhere, I don't want to be on my damn phone taking a picture, being distracted from vacation or time with my family to try to make people feel bad that they're not having the same experience I am. Like, my family likes to go up through New England when I'm on vacation, and I'll have delicious lobster, or I'll get to go out in the middle of nowhere and look up at the stars and see the International Space Station go over. And of course, some people are like, that's boring as shit, but or getting to go on a cool boat ride or see whales or some shit. But I don't broadcast it on social media because I'm taking away from that opportunity or that moment I'm in then.
I'm guilty of that. Yeah, I'm guilty of that. Yeah,
we all are. And like I said, the reason I talk about being younger is when I was younger, I was a lot more insecure and really didn't know who I was going to become. And I guess the closest thing I can equate this to is, like, I watched too much Sex in the City when I was in my early 20s, and I bought, like, Dior and Armani, and I didn't even have that much money, so I'm buying this crap that the only people that cared about it were these superficial assholes I wouldn't want to hang out with anyways. So now that I'm older, like, I kind of don't care when it comes to that type of stuff. And, like, like I said, professionally I'll post work and everything, but, like, having to keep up with the Joneses or try to compete with people, like, look, I'm having the same amount of fun as you, is like, it's a waste of time for me as far as where I am in my life now. And I don't know if that applies to most people, but needing to show people that I'm at a rock concert that they're not at is not something I like to do, because it takes away from the experience of me being at the rock concert or vacation or any of these things. I'm like, I don't want to.
But don't you feel like some guilty, like I don't know, every once in a while, like I want to project a little fear of missing out on somebody else. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I could. I'm a purist. I'm this and that. Like I just like I would have been like, look what I'm doing. You ain't doing it. Don't you do that once in a while a little bit?
Yeah, I'd be a fucking liar if I said I didn't. Look, for me, I think I'm lucky enough to live in one of the greatest cities on the planet.
Which city is that?
New York City.
It's a good city.
And
I vouch for that.
Oh, yeah, you can vouch for that. But that's why I say one of the greatest cities on the planet, because there's other great cities on the planet. But there's a little bit of that of like, I live in New York City and I can go take a picture of the Empire State Building whenever I want. I can get New York City pizza whenever I want.
And do you like to show that off to other people?
No, because I don't do it now.
Oh, interesting. I listen. I'm not totally guilty of this either, but some of these are. But you talked about like people advertising, right? So advertising is basically preying on your fear of missing out or fear of not looking good or whatever the fuck it is. It's like, hey, look at how skinny I am, how this and that. What I think we've gotten to the point of is like, as people, we're just projecting success at all times, or you're not doing something or whatever. Like, I play a lot of video games online, and if I do well in it, I'm constantly like, I'm going to go in there and be like, oh, but look how well I'm doing at this fucking game. And part of it is like, it's like a little and part of it is pride, right? Less of it for me is a little but a little more pride issue. But I want to talk for a second about like the other side of this. Like, how does it make you feel and I'll answer this myself. How does it make you feel to receive some of this fucking bullshit that people are like, my life is so great all the fucking time? Like for me, and then I'll let you answer real quickly. Like for me, like I'd rather get something real from somebody, even if the woe is me thing, it's hard to read. I'm not going to lie. Even when I project it, I'm like, oh, what are you doing? But I definitely want to hear like some complex shit from somebody. I don't want to hear constantly like, oh, I won this award and I'm here with this fucking person and everything is perfect and beautiful. And if you're just in my company, you're going to be successful and you're going to look like me and you're going to feel like me. You're going to act like me. And I'm like, listen, you fake piece of shit. Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want that garbage going into my eyeballs. That's why I don't really go on Instagram. It's because like how many fucking filters of your fucking beach can I look at? The funny thing about this that cracks me up is that in the 70s, there was like a joke growing up. I'm not that old. I'm older than most of you. But there was a fucking joke growing up where somebody would, and they had this on South Park, where somebody would trap you, like a family. Like if you knew this other couple, you go to their house and be like, oh, let me just show you our vacation photos. And they whip out the projector. This is like a cliche. And you'd have to sit through their vacation photos. And they'd be like, oh my God, don't make me suffer through your fucking vacation. There was a South Park episode that parodied this, right? And that was like a meme back in the old days, a cliche, a meme. And now that shifted to everybody showing you their fucking vacation at every 2 seconds. And it's not that I'm not glad you're having fun. You know what I'm saying? But I find it a lot more interesting to see that moment you tripped than when you were having that fucking martini. Anyway, how about you, Erica? Please. And by the way, again, I'm with Erica Langworthy, digital artist, does all the effects for my channel, but also worked at Rockstar Games and WWE and all these big companies with all these big people. So she has lived, in some ways, a life that could be projected as big. But, like everybody else, hits their hard moments and is a real person. So that's why she's very interesting on this subject. Yes, I just called somebody in the chat room said, damn, called out all my martini photos. Yes, I did. And then Broken Pigeon said, literally just posted a snack of my Brussels sprouts last night because, like, holy shit, they are delicious. Fight me. Those are fighting words, by the way, Brussels sprouts. And I'll say that the question really is, were those Brussels sprouts posted because you really enjoyed them and wanted to say to the world, hey, I enjoyed these? Or I think people will like the fact that I had these delicious Brussels sprouts and maybe even a little of, nah, you don't get to eat my green shit. Erica, please take over for some of the subject for me.
So I got distracted.
Forgive me, I do that to people. I just go on and on and on until they're distracted and gone. All right, so let's get back to a subject so you can latch on to that, please, because I fucked you up here. What do you define as fun? What's a fun time for you? And hello to the chat room, by the way.
So again, this might be again a little bit of a gap here. So I like when I haven't done it in forever, but I like going out and dancing to dance music or whatever the kids call it now, EDM. I don't know what they call it anymore. I used to just call it dance music. Recno, yeah, they
I don't know.
that was something I enjoyed. I love dancing, but it got replaced by some things. I mean, it dance clubs are meat markets. Let's be real. And just hanging out with people, enjoying music. You can sometimes meet some cool people, but it is what it is. I like going and watching UFC fights. I like going for walks. This sounds like a dating ad.
It is, but it's okay. So all of those things you enjoy, right?
Yeah.
So when you enjoy them, how much of an impulse do you feel to share it with other people?
I don't know, because when you're in a club, you're already sharing it with people. You're sharing the
Interesting.
experience of enjoying the music. But well, here's an example. So when I worked at Rockstar, like they're super strict about NDA stuff. So obviously I'm not going to get into it. Um, I used to want people to be like to give a shit that I worked for this giant game company because like it's a big accomplishment and you like want to tell people, oh, I worked at Rockstar, blah, blah. But two things would happen when I tell people I worked at Rockstar because obviously I can't take pictures of it. They would look at me blank and be like, what the fuck is Rockstar? And they would say, oh, Grand Theft Auto. They go, oh, cool. Or they'd ask me for a job. So it's like I lose out twice.
Icon has job.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I can have a job. It's like, nah, bro. My professional reputation is
Yeah,
important to me. But
you can't. But did you feel tempted, right?
oh
To
yeah,
flaunt,
because
to flaunt, to flex, to
yeah, because getting into the game industry is hard as this, or actually entertainment in general. I mean, even when I worked at WWE, I had people wanting to get jobs through me, and it.
and nobody wants to fucking work there. Nobody. Trust me. Like they have go to fucking Indeed or one of those fucking website things, and you'll see a 400 job posting for WWE at all times, and then it'll be like the same job 2 months later because they must have got rid of that fuck. That's totally different, off topic.
Yeah.
No one wants to work for. Sorry, Vince McMahon, I'm fired. Okay, I didn't give a shit. I didn't want to get hired anyway. Please continue.
But yeah, no, it's all good. So, and like it, in a weird way for me, it was like this seeking this kind of validation, which is incredibly unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like. Part of me wants to be like, oh, I wish I worked there. I'm like, ah, okay. But then the other part of me felt guilty for bragging because
Right.
it's
There's
bragging.
guilt for you. There's guilt associated with this. That's interesting. So I'm gonna let's explore that guilt. Do you feel like that some people who are promoting all the time, and somebody might define me as one of them, that's possible, are guilty of sort of like that sort of thought, like they're pushing their being shameless self promoters all the time. And I think that people do it personally too. They're shameless.
Oh yeah.
I'm
mean,
ashamed
people-
sometimes. Have to.
Well, I mean, the shameless self promotion that irritates me. There's nothing wrong with people being successful and talking about their success, but not acknowledging somebody else's success.
That's interesting. Okay.
Or not acknowledging that other people have experience as well.
I agree with that too.
But like, I mean, and again, I'm going to touch on it one more time. If you look at social media, it's become a marketing tool. Like, it's a huge marketing tool now,
Yes,
and
it's the biggest. Yes, obviously.
yeah, and you don't need a degree in it. You can be an attractive man or woman.
Obviously.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be just that, but that's the most obvious thing. If you look at Twitch, Dr. Disrespect is not a bad looking dude. He's got his own entertaining shtick. You have plenty of pseudo cam girls doing their thing, and a couple other good looking people, or a cool, interesting person with lots of tattoos.
You've yet to mention a category of which I fit into, and I'm getting a little offended. Please continue.
Hook-nosed Jew.
Hook-nosed Jew.
You said it. I'm repeating what you said in past streams.
Hey now.
No.
I don't think there's a category on Twitch for that. I don't think I can select that.
You're not Tony Hawk.
No, I'm not Tony Hawk. That's my category. I'm the anti-category. I'm categories.
You're the
let's move on from this HNJ. I think we should get out of this zone. But you're completely making your the founder of. Thank you for that, Zuzo. So somebody asked me who's calling in. This is Erica Langworthy, digital artist who does all the effects. Work for WWE, work for Viacom, etc., etc., etc. AKA a much more successful person than me. But you wouldn't necessarily know that because I never stop projecting in some ways. But that's not entirely true. I don't project sometimes because I also just want to enjoy a moment. But I will say this. I use, and I think a lot of people do this. I have like a social anxiety that most people have, where I can't truly enjoy something unless I'm seeing it through the eyes of somebody else. So like in the middle of something, I'll feel like this awkwardness with it, and I'll have to take a picture because the only way I can engage with it is through that picture. And then I want other people to acknowledge the fact that I was somehow part of this thing. What's sort of funny is I directed LL Cool J recently. That's fact, right? But and when I was down there directing him, the picture almost meant more than the actual experience of directing him, because the amount of people who commented on it and sort of will see me as more valuable because of this one picture where I'm like, with my fucking arm around this really nice. He's a really nice guy. So saying nothing bad about him, he's fantastic. But it's very interesting to me that like that's a commodity. You know what I mean? This sort of I'm having more fun than you. I'm more successful than you. And that I knew it was a commodity, and I made it a commodity so that I could advance my career. So that other people would see, oh, wow, he's with LL Cool J. What else must we be doing? I better get on that train before it leaves the station and goes to fucking Hogwarts, because, you know, that's the only place my train would go. So I feel
LL Cool Train.
LL Cool Train. Yes, exactly. Right. So this is just such an interesting subject to me. So I want to present two terms, and then we should talk about this Fry Fest documentary that I know we've both seen. Right?
Fire, not Fry.
Fry, whatever. No, because Fly Fox comes in here, I get confused. She's part of my chat room. The Fire Festival. It's a fucking tongue twister, that thing. So we have the fear of missing out, FOMO, right? But I'm also going to present a new term here today. I'm going to call it YAMO. YAMO. YAMO is basically you are missing out. It is the projection of trying to make somebody else feel like they're missing out. It's like, hey, guess what? You're missing out. It could be just YAMO with no A, because it could be you are, which is the correct English thing. I learned that just recently. And somebody in the chat room said, has anyone seen Jeskid and Tony Hawk in the same room? It's been said that I look a little Tony Hawkish. Little hawkish, but no, that we've never actually been seen in the same room. That's the answer to that question. So is what you're projecting a false image? That's sort of the question today. You know, are you commoditizing or monetizing your image to get validation, and why do you do it? You know, I do it for career. I do it to feel good. I mean, there was a thing also in the old sort of meme and cliche was keeping up with the Joneses. And I don't think people talk about that anymore. People say, you know, keeping up with the Joneses was where your neighbors, the Joneses, right, would have like a new car. And you'd be like, oh, the Jones, Mr. Jones just got a new car. I got to get a new car. And then you get a new car, but you put like a spoiler on it. Then Jones says, who also lives next to Mr. Jones apparently, oh, look, the Smiths or whatever, they got a spoiler. I need a spoiler, right? And I think that that's what we're doing now. We're just doing it with pictures. And we're also, then we propel ourselves up by these good times that we're projecting, even if we're not having fun, to get more people to sort of have fun via that fear of missing out, or jealousy, or envy, or whatever those emotions are, or celebration. Then we project those numbers up until we become the person, the Kim Kardashian of the world, that other people see as the ultimate fun haver, right? Even the drama's fun. If you're around them, it'll be so much fun. And I'd like to say that the reality is so different. So let's talk about this documentary or the Fire Festival. So for those that don't know, the Fire Festival was and I've worked with influencers, and I can be considered an influencer in some circles, so I'm pretty familiar with this universe. The Fire Festival was a festival put on that basically preyed upon all the influencers and the kids who looked up to those influencers, put on this huge festival and promoted this fake commercial. Yes, there's two documentaries. I've seen them both. This fake festival, basically, where people would come in. They did a commercial, which is like extravagant, shot on with all the top models in the world who had huge social media platforms, and saying they're all going to be there. There's going to be all this music. People get there, and there's FEMA tents set up for them. None of the huts and design houses or anything, and people are like fighting for food, and it's dark, and it's dangerous. It's a nightmare because the guy who promised it, you know, and I don't know him, I'm not here to badmouth him, but used everybody's fear of missing out to create the perfect storm for this I'm having more fun than you phenomena, right? Which in most cases is bullshit. Part of the reason people watch me on Twitch is they feel like I'm having more fun than them. Sometimes I'm not. I think they watch me too because I'm just a weird guy, but that's a whole nother subject. So, talking about the Fire Festival, what did you think about it, Erica? What was your take on it? And how did you feel watching these people suffer and not get what they wanted?
Well, let's see here. So there's two documentaries. There's one on Hulu and one on Netflix, and they both, I think, have fire in the name. Like one, I think the Hulu one is called Fire Fraud, and I forget what the Netflix one, Fire Festival, the greatest festival that never happened. But
Right.
So the guy that ran it is definitely one of these. He's a scam artist, obviously, and he just basically ran a big pyramid scheme. And it was one failed venture after the other, and it basically just became making the new business to pay off the debts from the old business. And it was, I remember hearing about it when I was like, what, two or 3 years ago, about the spoiled rich kids getting cheese sandwiches at this quote unquote luxury music festival, and it ended up not being that. Like Jess said, it was FEMA tents and a bunch of BS. So I think the only person that I really follow that's considered an influencer is Joe Rogan, just because I find his podcast to be incredibly entertaining. But he never does the fear of missing out thing. He just posts stuff that he thinks is cool, and the only thing I ever bought that he pushed was Onnit, but the Onnit supplements didn't work with me. Anyways, tangent. So when I was watching the documentary, and the documentary on Hulu really kind of pokes fun at the quote unquote influencers. And what the people from Fire Festival did is they, like Jess said, they shot this beautiful commercial. Like the commercial was straight up marketing.
Yeah,
it was gorgeous. And even the ad agency that they hired was, they're really good sense, really good taste in what they did. The person it appealed to were these affluent quote unquote influencers. And they were like, oh, why aren't the supermodels posting? If we get these big influencers, we'll promise them a villa for one post for Fire Festival. And I remember they were talking to one influencer in general who's like, we're in Miami and then we're going to Fire Festival. And they show her saying, oh, we feel really bad for the people that had to sleep in FEMA tents and wet beds. And then they cut to a shot of her dancing around the villa, not even giving a shit about the other people.
Yeah, but she didn't. In defense of this influencer, right,
Yeah.
who is extraordinarily beautiful and very easy to hate, outside of the context of her promoting her beauty to you, in that moment, was she may not have known that those other people were suffering in that way. So
No,
she may have. I don't know. I don't know her. I don't want to judge, but it brings up a good point. And my friend Jerry in the chat room said, what did he write? He wrote a bunch of things. He's talking about somebody being subpoenaed, and but I think he said something along the lines. Oh, he said, "But I wish I had a camera at the festival to see the Lord of the Flies unfold before my eyes." So it's just very interesting. I think that there is a real market from a marketing perspective, and this is not like in the personal sense, but in the marketing thing, to see other people fail. And the more you have, and the prettier you are, and the more money you have, and the more success you seem to have already, we love to see people fall, right? We love to see people get like all fucked up after they've achieved something, and especially like the more superficial they are, which is very interesting because on the one moment we just celebrate everything they do. It's like, oh my God, show me another picture of your bikini. Oh my God, show me that time you hung out with a celebrity. And then the same person, many of us would be like, oh my God, look how you fucking were homeless. And it's crazy to me. That's so crazy that we can experience that sort of through something else. And I think the danger of that is that methodology of which we're speaking about, things that used to be high-level celebrities and marketing, have now trickled down to you and me and people in this chat room and people in the world. Whereas you and me, you less than me maybe, I try to be very real. That's kind of my thing, but that's my thing, right? But you and me, we try to put as much genuineness into the world. But there's still some marketing mixed in. But that same sort of like wanting to see only the good things in our lives and maybe wanting to see horrible things happen to us potentially has now infected normal people. I swear to God. I think it's like us having to project success at all times for other people and being good looking and this and that. Like one thing that was very interesting, and I think it's changed online. I'm going to make another point, and then I want to hear your perspective from a time perspective. Is that 10 years ago, web, 15 years ago, web, completely different than now. Completely different. Most of my vlogs, when I was beginning vlogging, and I was one of the first, ladies and gentlemen, give me credit where credit's due, and many people borrowed. Most of my vlogs were shot from down here looking up my nose. And so my hairline was like, basically I might have been a bald-headed fucking eagle. I was the ugliest person on the planet, according to me. It was all nostril hairs.
Aw.
It was like, who the fuck is this idiot? And I used to walk down the street with the camera, be like, I'm not speeding that up. That's actually my voice. And basically, I shot these and I released them. And I just didn't give a shit. I think I was at the point where I was just like, I don't care what happens to me anymore. Fuck it. This is as close to death as I'm going to get. So I'm walking around with this camera and people loved it. They were like, holy shit, this is so amazing, and da-da-da. And I think that there was a rawness to it, a realness to the way the camera was shaking, the way it would whip back and forth, that I don't know if it would work now. I don't know if it would work because I think that people don't even desire the real on the other side of the equation. They want, even though they feel like they want something that's real, they don't. What they want is constructed reality from everyday people. I really feel that way. Because even the vlogs, even this, right, with its 3 cameras, boom, 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 I'm changing cameras. Even this is produced, right? And when you look at a vlogger now, it's them with a white light in front of them and their eyes are shining. And it's like, hey, everybody, I'm here in a very natural way in a very unnatural environment behind the scenes. And that's fascinating to me, like how we've shifted into this very productized, if that's the right word, view of even produced view of even everyday people. Like, how do you feel about that? Are you very, because I think you are, and I know you pretty well. I think that you're very controlled too about what pictures you go into the world and how you look in those pictures. I think everybody is. Is that true for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm careful for a multitude of reasons. One, well, I mean, I don't give out my social media to employment stuff in general, and because I think that's foolish. But I don't have time for bullshit, man. I just don't have time for it. And there's nothing wrong with somebody. Look, it's like sitting here saying, "Oh my God, supermodels are the best thing on the planet." Supermodels are around to sell stuff.
Yeah.
They're using, somebody finds them attractive, they have the right genetics for whatever product they're selling. Good for them. The only time I have a problem is when the people that are selling something, or society saying, well, you need to like this thing because a pretty person likes it. I'm like, no. Like, cool, they're pretty, and I understand why they have the following they do, but I don't understand. I don't want what this person has. But they're like, but no, you have to like it. I'm like, no, bro, I don't. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with doing that type of marketing. I'm like, cool, whatever. But again, maybe it's just how I am. But like I said, I don't have time for bullshit, and I just don't, because I'm busy trying to live my life and be an artist and improve myself, because I'm a person. I have shit that I deal with, but I just don't have time for it, and I don't know what the phenomenon is that we were talking about earlier. The was it Schadenfreude, the German thing of
watching other people suffer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
can't even pronounce that shit, but I enjoy it sometimes.
No, but I don't watch reality TV because the ironic thing about reality TV, like the Kardashians and the Honey Boo Boo thing, people think, they're like, haha, I'm pointing and laughing at these stupid people. Like, you're the dumb one, because you're the one who's giving them ratings so they keep making more money, and now they have more money than you will ever have in your entire life because you felt the need to point and laugh. And I don't want to follow somebody who's just going to irritate me or annoy me. Like, being a hater is a waste. It's a waste of energy. But again, it's become a marketing thing, and if people, like, they're using pretty people, or they're using a celebrity, or these different strategies to try to get customers. Okay.
Well, I work for these companies, and everything is controlled. Everything. Like,
Yeah.
but even so, I just want even like if I cut to an angle, right? Like how those things are positioned behind me. There'd be a person to design that. There'd be
Yeah.
a job just to do that. And what's that thing? Oh, why is that music coming on? Shut up. So that would be a fuck up. Somebody would get fired for what I just did. The music popped on. So I want to go to the chat room real quick. And Redneck Rebel said something funny. Redneck Rebel's been a guest here before. He mentioned my what do you call it? Beat up socks or whatever he said about my socks that he could see on camera. And what's interesting is, these socks right here, which I need to change because I think I wore them yesterday. PU. These socks, which you're looking at here, right? That was a choice. I actually thought about the fact that I'm just wearing socks, and it went through my brain that it's going to feel more comfortable. Now I actually am more comfortable, so that's a factor too. But I said, oh, it'll feel more comfortable for the podcast. So even subconsciously, I'm designing this for you. Like, I'm not manipulating you. That's not the right word. I'm saying that, and I'm not, there's nothing wrong with me. Please, I'm fucking a nice guy. I really try to be. But I'm saying to you that we're all doing it. We're all using this new medium to create a fabricated reality, to create a false sense of self. And I'm also saying that sense of self has its effects on people. When I see somebody else having some success, I'm never angry at them for that success. But there's a part of me that feels, man, I wish I had some of that. I don't want to take it from them because that's a jealousy, that's a mean thing for me. And some people get that way. But I wish that I could do those kinds of things. In some cases, I just live through them. And I feel like it makes me, as much as it makes me feel good about those things, it makes me feel bad about myself. And I like to think that we all go through this. I think that we suffer from this sort of fake reality teaching us that we have less of a life than we actually do. And on the inverse side, then we try to capture it by creating the same fucking fake reality that other people click on. What do you think of that?
It's like a fucked up game of tag, isn't it?
It really is. It's a fucked up game of fucking my life is more of, I'm having more fun than you tag. There should be some acronym for that, like IHMFTU, some other letter. I was pretty good. I read that off a screen kind of thing.
Too long, didn't read.
So my friend in the chat room, Zuzo Colossus, old
Zozo?
fan and friend, Zozo, forgive me. I'm so wrong about that. Said only reality TV thing I watched was Jersey Shore because it was hilariously dumb. It's hilariously dumb. So you enjoyed it because it was stupid. But in some ways, wouldn't you say that it made you feel smarter? So in the same token of we watch shitty things and people doing shitty, dumb things, I'm just making some conclusion. This doesn't have to apply to you, my dude, but it may. We watch those things to feel superior to those people because it makes us feel better about ourselves. But then when we look at the people who have more than us or are flaunting some fun time, it makes us feel worse about ourselves. It's very interesting how this thing manipulates you and toys with your ability, and then you become a victim to doing it too. I do it all the fucking time. I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm encouraged to do it. You know what I'm saying? And he said, yeah, it did, because he knows. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. I fucking sent somebody a message recently who I like. I like this person, and they talked about how trying to get popular online. I've known a lot of famous people. I've helped them get famous in some cases. It just doesn't seem to work for me, but I'm working on it. And like I sent him a message being like, oh my God, your social media game is so on point. Because I didn't know what else to say. And after I sent that message, I think I fucking threw up in my mouth a little bit. Because it was both true and disgusting to me. Because they were getting a lot more likes and you could see the traction picking up and their social media profile was rising. The fuck does that mean in the grand scheme? But in our society, it has currency. Like, if I have a certain amount of follows on here, I get to sell you products. I got an offer the other day. You're going to laugh about this. From a couple different companies said, hey, if you want to start incorporating our fucking stuff in your stream, and I'm not saying I won't, because I have to pay the bills too. There's only so much the audience can give until it gets big. Hopefully they give more. I love you. I'm pandering, forgive me. But it was like for meundies.com and a couple other places. And I'd have to be like, hey, there's a link on my stream for fucking underwear. And if you purchase it, I get $15 for me wearing this fucking underwear. You know? Maybe I don't want to wear that underwear. Maybe I'm not comfortable. And I've talked about this with you, Erica, before. In some cases, I wouldn't be comfortable promoting something that I'm not comfortable with. But if it pays the bills, where do you draw the line? You know, where is it like that's your job? And because social media is mixed in everything, where would you draw the line? Is that your job? And that's not something you felt was like personal to you. And how do you separate those?
So social media was my job. Is that
No,
what you're
meaning
asking?
like, but social media is now part of all of our jobs.
Oh,
If you get a job doing something, right? Like you work for a company, there's sort of an expectation in some ways, a subtle expectation that you participate in the social media culture of that job. Do you not agree with that? I mean, maybe you haven't had those jobs. Most of the jobs I have, they seem to incorporate it in some manner, even if it's subconscious.
I mean, I don't. I'm not sure I understand the statement.
Right, right.
But some places I work, you represent the company, and
Right.
if you do something stupid and you're in the news for doing something stupid, you get fired
Penalized for it,
immediately.
right? So in the companies that you
Yeah.
worked for, right, it was inappropriate to be social, which is very interesting. It's like the complete opposite of many companies. But do you feel that like so most of us don't work at the same place forever, right? Oh, I bit my tongue and then I did a little like throw up motion on the camera. That's really disgusting. I'll watch myself do it too, which is even worse. So this is a moment where I both have to do that thing that I just did, almost throw up in my mouth, and then think about how it came across to the people watching it. I couldn't just live that moment. I had to process it, which is actually kind of funny in my brain because I see people being like, what an idiot. But I had to sort of process that as this was a good thing that just happened or was a bad thing that just happened. And then I have to quantify about it. Puppies in the chat room, he said, I liked it. Thank you for that. I'm going to read Zuzo. I'll never say that correctly. If you could promote something you support and had that choice off the bat, would you feel like it's cheating to get ahead early on? And would you feel the same way if it's something you didn't support personally? I don't know. I mean, some days I once edited a video for a political thing that I didn't agree with. And I shot it, right? And I had to say to myself, well, I have to pay my bills. I don't agree with the statement they're making and what they're advocating for. It wasn't horrific, but am I supporting this thing by creating this video, or am I a filmmaker that's just getting paid to do it? Right? It's something that was going to be very public facing. I don't, it's a hard question to answer because we all got to pay our bills. Like if you're the town executioner and you can't feed your fucking family unless you chop off Ned Stark's head, then you get to chopping. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that I have a sort of unfortunate curse of avoiding money in this world. I don't know why I do it, and avoiding opportunity because I have too much integrity. You know what I'm saying? I think that if it's your job, it's like going to Wendy's and be like, I'm not wearing that Wendy's uniform. I may work here, but I'm not trying to be a brand ambassador. Motherfucker, you work at Wendy's, put that shit on. It's okay. And I got to tell myself that more often. Sometimes you gotta do what the job requires you to do. What do you think, Eric? And even in the social media sense.
Well, I mean, so if I ever got into position of being an influencer,
you're an influencer. You're influencing this conversation right now. So let's get that. You're done. You're an influencer. Okay.
But I wouldn't want people to buy shit that's gonna hurt them or something I don't like. There was a company that I worked for that made a like a safety product, and it's something I really believed in. And I really think it's something that people needed to use.
Right.
And like that's something I could get behind. But like there's things I've like commercials and shows that I've worked on that I didn't give a shit about the show. I didn't give a shit about the game, but I needed to pay the bills, and it wasn't like anything morally that I was against. If it's something I'm morally against, I don't take the job or I don't go work for that company.
So that's where you draw the line. You would not promote something that you felt was disingenuous, lying to people, even in the personal way.
Yeah, and even if a place treats you like shit, I don't work for that place. Like you treat people like shit, I'm not gonna work for you. It's like that's not okay. And like some of the places I worked at before, industrial espionage is a thing, and you can't post stuff socially, but you just can't.
So when's Grand Theft Auto 10 coming out?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So there you go. Good job. Good job. You are now a social media ambassador for a company you no longer work for. Amazing.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of you.
See, I've come a long way. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like this is the thing I find fascinating about getting big numbers and becoming big on a social platform like Twitch or Instagram. Like you kind of get to do whatever you want in a sense. But if you think about it, you're still somebody's boss.
Right.
Or boss, excuse me. Somebody is still your boss. I said that backwards. Whether it's your sponsors are your boss or your viewers are your boss, yes, you get to make your own hours. That's the freedom you get. You can wear whatever you want. You can sometimes you can play what you want depending on what the sponsor says, but you're always beholden to somebody.
Somebody, right.
And yeah, there's artists I follow. They get like 10,000 follows on a piece that they did, and a part of me wants to be jealous. I'm like, I could sit here and waste my time and be jealous, or I can take that energy and put it into my own work.
So you feel like you get some positive value out of that.
Yeah, so I can, and like I've even checked myself. Like, don't be jealous of this person because you don't know what they do every day. You don't know what they're going through. You're seeing this very carefully crafted piece of their life, whether it's somebody that made a poster I don't like how they designed the poster, whatever, or somebody posting a picture of a puppy, which again, how could you be jealous of somebody posting a picture of a puppy?
Well, because what if you have an ugly puppy and they have a
but it's not ugly. It's not ugly to you if it's your puppy, right?
Yes.
But the thing I try to take into account is don't waste your energy. And again, I don't follow people that make me feel shitty. But don't use that energy to be negative. Use that energy to be positive. And you don't even need to say anything bad about the other person. Like, I've gotten to the point where, like, I'm really happy that somebody I think is good is getting attention for their work because they're really good. So let me take that energy and put that into my work, or put that energy and put it into myself and better myself, and ask myself, why are you getting jealous of this person? Or why do you feel like you're missing out on something? What is causing that in myself? And that's kind of how I've turned it around to just, and it's hard for people to do. It's not like the easiest thing on the planet to be like, well, why do I feel shitty when I look at this person's feed?
Right.
What is it about this attractive man or this attractive woman that makes me want what they have? When even my knowledge of Photoshop and After Effects, I know this is manufactured. Why is this illusion bothering me?
Right. Do you think a lot of people? Because I don't. I don't feel like a lot of people do that introspection that you've just talked about. I think they just consume and don't know why they feel bad about it. It's a very serious episode. I wish I could make more jokes, but you're making great points. So I'll stop making stupid jokes. Even though people keep talking about my socks in the chat room, I don't know why. I think I'm sponsored by Hanes because I'm pretty up. Somebody's making a joke. So I'm going to answer. That was fantastic, by the way. I want to ask you some very fast questions, of which we've covered before. We're talking about things like the fear of missing out, other things like it today. That's why it's called I'm Having More Fun Than You. I'm going to ask you some very fast questions we've covered before. I want you to give you the fastest answers possible.
Oh, God.
To the next thing I ask you, and I'll answer them too. Okay?
Right.
What is fun for you?
Contentment.
Contentment. You like to be content, but that's more of an emotion. Give me a very fast example. What's a fun thing for you to do?
Eat a giant slice of pizza.
Amazing. Do you feel like when you're eating that slice of pizza and you really enjoyed it, you want to share it with the world?
Yes, because I want people to feel like that joy that I have eating that pizza.
Okay. Do you ever want somebody out there to also feel like it's okay to have that slice of pizza?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Okay.
You got to be a human.
Do you feel that by putting that picture out, are you careful when you take a picture of that slice of pizza and how you frame that slice of pizza?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if it's because of my brain, but I want it to look appetizing to whoever looks at it, and I want them to want to eat it.
Right. Do you ever feel like that slice of pizza may sort of make somebody jealous of the fact that you have that pizza? Is it a little like, hey, look at me, I'm having this fat-ass pizza?
Some people may think New York City pizza is disgusting, so get whatever pizza you think
But
is
how do
delicious.
you feel about it? Like, do you project that outwards to try to say, hey, look at me, I'm having fat-ass pizza, you're not?
I don't know. It depends on the person looking at it. I don't want somebody to feel shitty about a piece of pizza.
This is like an explanation of why you're a nice person. I'm going to give my inverse to that shit, right? I get that slice of pizza. I do feel the same way. I want you to see the pizza I had, but I really want you to see that I'm having fun because maybe you like me and you're worried that I'm just disappeared for 6 months and I'm frozen in a fucking lake. Or, maybe I want you to be like, oh man, Jeskid gets all the pizza. Look at him. I want to be his friend. He's the pizza guy. And maybe I feel like there's a fucking hole in my life, in my brain, that makes me want to project that pizza in many different ways at many different times. And that's why I disappear for social media sometimes for like 6 fucking months. Because I love people. I love connecting with them. But the second I feel like I'm commoditizing myself too much, my brain turns off. But I also know that I have to commoditize myself too much to be successful in the current world, especially in the world of influencers and popularity and bullshit. You know what I mean? I have to. I have no choice. If I don't post this on 5 different places and I don't say something clever that's clickbaity, that'll get people to come in, they won't come because they're being blinded by other people trying to say, look how much fun we're having over here.
You know what's interesting about what you said about the posting? You're incentivized by these social networks, these social platforms. The more you keep posting, you get rewarded. It's
Absolutely.
it's a treat. So
Absolutely. Here's a like. Bing, I'm happy. Bing.
Well, but I mean, even built into the algorithms, like, oh, this person's getting lots of traffic. If we tell them, hey, why don't you keep posting? I don't know why the social platforms sound like a fat guy with jowls, but I think that's I want you guys to keep posting. Because you keep posting, you get more stuff. If you get more stuff, you get more money, and you don't have to worry about stuff.
But in most cases, you get jack shit. You just get a bunch of likes on a page. What does it mean? But in some cases, it is a connection. Right?
Yeah.
This is another conversation now. I'd like to go to the chat room. Broken Pigeon says, how do you think one should go about not being jealous? Isn't jealousy a regular human emotion? I'm going to answer that very quickly first. I'm going to let you take a very quick answer at it too. Isn't jealousy a regular human emotion? Of course it is. But understanding the thing you're actually being jealous about is not a real thing is important. Because you're jealous about something fictitious. You're jealous about something that's created for you. You're jealous about something that's not even an accurate portrayal of what that thing is. But is it a device that we use to allow ourselves to be jealous for no reason? Is it a system that's sort of increasing that jealousy? I don't know. I don't have the answers to this thing. Being jealous is part of being human, But the more jealous you are, the more unhappy you are. It's just fact because you're not looking at what you have. You're looking at what others have. And I think we live in a society of where others have is constantly projected it to us, and we're constantly trying to do the same thing to them. So it's a really fucking bad trap. But that's my answer to your question. What do you think about jealousy being a human emotion thing? You're smarter than me. Please go.
No, I'm not. Definitely not.
A little bit. But I can send you Facebook. I can show you a picture on Instagram where you look smarter than me. So please continue.
See, now you're projecting. Well, I mean, jealousy is a normal human emotion, but to touch on what I was mentioning earlier is, and Jess said it too, is kind of analyzing what is making you feel jealous about this. And like, look, everybody's going through something, and we're sitting here talking on Twitch about fear of missing out, and there's probably somebody fucking starving in Syria. So
or New Jersey,
or New Jersey, or even here in the United States.
Real Housewives.
But it's one of those things where you self-analyze. For me, like when how can I put it? I see somebody who's in killer shape because I'm big on fitness, and I look at myself and I look at them, and I like for a few seconds I'm jealous, but then I stop and I think, I'm like, what did that person have to do to look like that? That's some fucking hard shit they had to do to have like fully ripped abs and no fat on their thighs and no love
like
handles.
Me.
No,
yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
What? But it's partially trying to understand what it took to get there.
Right.
And then looking at myself and being like, look, I'm not a professional fighter. I'm not a model. I'm not any of these things. I'm a human being that spends 10 hours sitting on her butt doing art and graphics and all kinds of shit all day. Where was I going with this? Oh, it's just more just looking at yourself and trying to understand what it is that you're looking at and what it took for that person to either take that picture of themselves or whatever event they're at, like what it took to get there. And I just put it in its place. I'm like, okay, this is a dumb emotion you're feeling. this is manufactured, or you know what it took to get this, fine, be jealous for however long it takes. I don't know how long it takes. I try not to give it more than a couple of minutes. And then take that energy and put it into something that I can do for myself instead of wasting my energy hoping that person dies.
Well, obviously I hope they die, because that's the Schadenfreude. That's the other side of it. So I can take pleasure in their theoretical death.
Well, what the saying is, jealousy is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies.
100% true. These are facts. But it's a normal emotion to want things that other people have. But we've done this has been a very philosophical conversation about the projection of images, the commoditization of even our personal sort of social media, the need to impress other people at all times, to fill some sort of fucking weird void in ourselves, the inability to be at a show or a concert or a sporting event without having to show everybody else that you're at a show or a concert or a fucking sporting event, or play back the video. I mean, you see concerts now and it's like everybody's got their phone up. And I'm not judging it. I do it too. So let's be clear. Let me be transparent about this. I'm just as guilty as all the rest of you motherfuckers. I'm all like, hoity-toity, boity-boity. You guys are fucking lower than me because you're on social media. I'm one of the innovators of this shit. I'm one of the fucking worst criminals because I have to do it, but also I like it. It's a drug. Let's talk about the drug aspect of it. Like, I feel like a little cling that goes off whenever I show that I'm doing well. And I wish that didn't happen anymore. I wish I could just show that I was doing badly and then have people be like, I'm going to get off topic for a second. You mind? Is it okay? Erica, is it okay?
What topic are we going to?
Who knows? But I'll go there in a second. There was a series of vlogs that I did for a while, right? Part of what people liked me originally, Jeskid TV, was I didn't care what the camera looked like. I didn't care what I looked like. I just was myself. And I love that. And I still do some and all of that online, but not everything anymore. And there was a couple times I had these experiences I was really disappointed by. I've had some bad shit happen career-wise. Everybody's had bad shit happen career-wise. Everybody, right? Everybody's had personal problems. People have death, life, And I remember posting this one vlog where I was like really upset about not getting into a film festival because that was my shtick. I would just share everything, which became a commodity in itself, right? But it was what I did. I was very honest. And somebody posted it on their page and somebody commented on it. I hate people like him because he's whining about something that happened to him. Basically saying he's a baby, he's just complaining, he just wants to, live in the misery of failure. That's what they were saying. And I was just sharing what I went through. That person doesn't know that I got up the next day and fought again for the next 10 years. They only made a snap judgment on me based upon the fact that they felt I was victimizing myself, that I was a crybaby, that I was this and that. And they said these are lessons that they shouldn't be taught to kids, they said. And I was like, I'm like, you're a teacher? You don't teach your kid that it's okay to go through the emotion of failure and share that? But that's where social media changed on me, and I realized it. Being human is not allowed. It's not allowed. You can only share the good shit or the really tragic shit when you know they'll pay you for it. That's why you watch Real Housewives and all that stuff, because they know you're feeding off of their failure, but they're actually profiting off of you from it. And I don't want to commoditize myself, if I can help it, with either side. I just want to be and put that into the world and let that be my personal and professional commodity. Me. And I don't know if that's possible in today's world, because today's world doesn't want a complex picture. Today's world doesn't want a real person. Today's world wants a label, like this thing I have from my guest shirt. It's on my shirt somewhere. They want this label. They want something that's just like one-sided, so that I can either bask in it, be jealous of it, feel bad about themselves about it, or laugh at it. And that doesn't fit what I think we should all be, which is complex and awesome. That was a really big, long speech. I'm so sorry, Erica. Please add anything you want.
I don't even
I get that way. I get soapboxy. I start, going on and on. But at least it wasn't a guru speech. At least I was like, hey, and feel better about yourself. And it's just like, I love complexity. And I think that what the topic of the day we're talking about is complex. Wouldn't you agree?
uh, well, well, here's the thing, and I don't know if it's really complex. And this is not a brag. It's like I talked to this person. So one of the places that I worked, I went up to one of the founders of the company, and the guy has a lot of money, and this was at a big holiday party, and they'd done really nice things for us and gotten a really nice venue and entertainment. And there was a lull and people were off being drunk or whatever, which is what you do at these parties. And I asked him, I was like, do you ever get to enjoy the money that you've made with this company? And he took a second to answer, and he told me, he's like, I don't get to enjoy any of it. I work all the time. My family is mad at me most of the time. I can't take a break ever. But my family doesn't have to worry about anything. And I just sat there for a second, and I'm like, you really don't know. Like, you see these little pictures of their lives, like, oh, he's the head of this company and nobody can touch him. He's the best this, the best that. And then you hear the guy can't take a vacation. His family's mad at him. He never gets to rest. He can't enjoy a damn thing, and he has all this money. And I'm like, so money doesn't buy you happiness, which is the affluence and this lifestyle of having money and getting to go to these extravagant places for vacation and buying your family whatever they want, but you don't get to enjoy shit as the person making the money. I'm like that.
So it's interesting parallel that you're drawing without even realizing it. If you don't mind me, is it okay if I cut in? I don't want to.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So with the parallel you're actually drawing is somebody who's got everything, a gazillion dollars, but they're just all of their wealth and things that they're achieving is being projected out into other people. It's being spent on other people. It's for other people's satisfaction so that they can maintain the thing that they have. It's all about maintenance. And I think that's the trap in sort of social media too. It's like you're just constantly projecting an image. And if it's a false image and it's just for the benefit of sort of maintaining this image because it benefits you financially, personally, career-wise, and it's the same exact thing. It's hollow. It doesn't go anywhere. You know what I mean? You're not happy in the end. If your whole time you're just projecting the idea of being happy as opposed to just exploring them being in the moment of what you actually do, you'll never be happy if it's always about somebody else. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. My friend Broken in the chat room said, it's so satisfying, addicting, getting likes and stuff. But I also enjoy my own social media for the fact that it's like a photo album. I can go back and see and feel these emotions I felt. And that's really cool. That's really cool. That's something we didn't bring up today. And I think I love what you said there because I do this a lot. I capture things because I capture in the way that I want to remember them. I have a lot of things on my phone that I just never upload to anything. And I find I feel bad about that because I feel like, what if my phone crashes? That those memories are important to me. And I feel like by uploading it to you guys or anybody else who would want to see it, I feel like I'm not cheapening it, but maybe there's like I'm taking something away from it. I'm like stealing its soul or some kind of indigenous people joke or something. I'm not saying of which country, by the way, or which world, for those that are going to get offended. I'm just kidding, right? So, but you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like doing something and capturing that moment for you is incredibly important. But then there's like a pride. I love to share things because I'm proud of them. I think that's in there too. So I just want to come to the conclusion of this for me and say that the idea of I'm having more fun than you, it's a real thing. And it's a real thing I'm guilty of, both on the receiving side and I'm sure at some points on the projecting side. Not as much as many people out there, but I'm sure some of it. It's more so for me professionally to be like, oh, I'm doing something. Check me out. Check me out. Hire me. Because if you see I'm doing something, maybe you'll like me. Maybe you'll give me the resources that I need to do what I want to do. So I'm guilty of that on that side. And I think that's okay. I don't think I'm doing a horrible disservice to the world. But I definitely feel like it's complex. And there's a lot of ways to look at this. What do you think, Eric?
What were we talking?
I know. I do this. I go on for 45 minutes, and then I'm like, "What do you think?" And it's like, I can't remember fucking 2,000 lines of code that you just wrote down for that program.
Yeah. So it was what was the Cliff Notes version? What was
The Cliff Notes is, right, that it's very complex of why we share these things and why we feel the way we feel when we look at these things, and also the reasons of why we project them. I see it as complex. How do you see it?
Yeah, it definitely is a complex thing because it's social media is like a weird thing. It's like this. It's like a personal resume in a way. Like this is how
That
I'm.
is a fascinating way to put that. I just want to say a
Yeah.
personal resume. Holy
So
shit.
like
Amazing.
this is how I'm doing. This is where I've been. How are you doing? That's in a way you start and you don't even mean to do it. You compare notes and you're like, shit, this person's doing better than me. Or and it's even become a form of entertainment, not even a point and laugh because when you look at movies or anything that's highly produced or even the Twitch stuff, it's entertainment and I can understand why people don't want complexity. They want this simple thing that they can like put their feet up and forget about something that's bothering them or something to keep them company as they're working. Like you don't want complex crap happening to something you find entertaining sometimes. But and to go back to my point, I really think social media in a way has become a personal resume, whether it's good or bad, whatever it is you're trying to do with your account. That's kind of how I look at it. And for my social media, I have some. One of my hobbies is I like doing cosplay stuff, so I'll put out like a Fallout costume or Venom or one of these things, or I'll post my art, or like if I see something pretty, I'll take a picture of it, or I'll be like, hey, just in case you forgot, I live in New York City, and I'm an artist. So like it's a mix of things because for myself, it's kind of like an extension of how I express myself, how I use social media.
Mm.
And it's a very quick and easy way to do it. But again, probably just destroyed my original point. It's kind of like a personal resume, which is why I don't mix it with my professional stuff.
No, that makes a lot of sense. You make a lot of good points. I want to talk about one last thing before we sort of conclude. First, I'll say
Sure.
Danny's comment in the chat room says, sometimes I feel like the sharing of pictures and ideas to others makes it a more powerful experience because of the mutual relating. That's
Yeah.
that's very important too. So it's not all dire and dark. It's actually really, really nice to see like, hey, those people out there who I think, at least I believe, see the world in a similar way that I do. Here's a thing that I want you to see that we can all have as like a point of discussion. And that's really, really, really awesome. Last thing I want to bring up is the fear of being different. And that's something that's not talked about a lot either. I mean, fears, I got a lot of fears. I'm neurotic, right? But the fear of being different is something that's a real negative, I think, because it stops us from sometimes communicating things that we might want to have other people relate to it in the same way, right? We might want somebody to who maybe sees the world in the same way as me, see something different about me. And I'm scared to do that. Like doing these podcasts, right, is not me playing video games on camera, something I've done for a year religiously. This is another part of my personality. It's more complex. I get to talk more. I get to joke more. It gets to be more back and forthy. There's no fucking shiny shit in the background and things exploding. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm afraid to do this different thing because I'm afraid that people will reject me for it. Just like I'm afraid to show myself not looking good on camera. Just like I'm afraid to show myself not doing well on camera. Talking about my finances, my this, my that, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm afraid to post certain things on social media. It's a fear of being different. And I wish that more of us could just express different shit, you know what I'm saying? From time to time. That's just me. And somebody just asked from the chat room, it's Debo, are we on radio? I don't speak shorthand. No, we're not on the radio. I'm just joking with you. We're talking today about that I'm having more fun than you doing this thing. Obviously, we're having much more fun than you, right? Because I'm on Twitch broadcasts with 3 cameras and you're not. And that's totally false. You're probably having more fun than me. Oh, I started the music. It's even more fun than that. I'll kill the music. So that was our topic that we talked about in length today. What does that mean? Am I having more fun than you? No, you're probably sitting by a fireplace and it's cold as shit here, having some ice cream that I don't currently have in my hand. That's what I picture in my brain. So when I put that picture on social media and I'm like, hey, everybody, I'm having fun, I just assume you're having more fun than me anyway. That makes me feel better about that picture. And then you look at it, you feel bad about yourself, and that makes me glad. No, not at all, actually. I'm just exploring all the motivations here. So this has been the topic today has been really what does it mean to project a good time, success, this and that on social media on both sides of the equation. And I think the conclusion is it can be extremely negative. You really got to think about how you're interpreting what's coming at you and what you're putting into the world, or else it can make you extremely unhappy in moments that you should be happy. You should be able to enjoy something without feeling like you have to share it. And you should feel good about sharing it when you're comfortable sharing it. You should also not feel bad about looking at somebody else having a good ass time, and be happy for them. And also realize that some of that good ass time is being manufactured by the way it was shot, by the filters, by everything that was produced about it to reach you. You should just feel good about you regardless. So I think that unless you have something to add to that, Erica, that was my final little stupid speech, which is not stupid, but that's part of my brand, is to call myself stupid because I'm not afraid to. Do you have anything to add to this incredible lackluster speech I gave at the end?
Just be yourself.
Just
and
be yourself.
Try not to measure yourself against something manufactured. Try. It's hard, but just be you, man. Don't be a dick. Be you, and yeah. I think hopefully I just didn't destroy your point.
No. That was the perfect way to end. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, as always, for listening to another episode of Jeskidding. This is Jeskidding episode 4, and it is I'm having more fun than you doing it, which is not always the truth.